going to start from the top here. So, hey, hey, ho, ho, industrial pollution has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, industrial pollution has got to go. All right, now we're going to say, ho, ho, hey, hey, the rule must be polluter pay. Ho, ho, hey, hey, the rule must be polluter pay. When the air we breathe is not okay, what do we do? Speak up and say, the rule must be polluter pay. When the air we breathe is not okay, what do we do? Speak up and say, the rule must be polluter pay. When the water we drink is not okay, what do we do? Speak up and say, the rule must be polluter pay. When our earth, when our earth we need is not okay, what do we do? Speak up and say, the rule must be polluter pay. What do we do? Speak up and say, the rule must be polluter pay. Thank you. So yeah, as Breezy said, my name's Tristan. I'm representing Edmonton Youth for Climate today. So I'm an Albertan, born and raised. I grew up in a small town where an old adage was that after high school, the boys go to the oil patch and the girls go to college. So fossil fuels have infiltrated our society and weeded their way into our provincial identity, and the corporations propagating this exploitative scheme sap away our reason like a hungry tapeworm. Fossil fuel corporations have been aware of carbon emissions for a very long time, longer than most people today have been alive, in fact. Way back in 1959, during a symposium held at Columbia University in New York, celebrating the 100th birthday of the oil industry, a man named Edward Teller informed the big names in the North American oil industry about the carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere by fossil fuels. At that symposium, Teller warned everyone present of just how dangerous continued reliance on fossil fuels would be. 64 years ago, he correctly predicted that rising atmospheric carbon dioxide levels would lead to an exponential increase in the rate of global warming, and in his presence were the people who could have prevented the wildfires and extreme weather events to which we've grown all too accustomed. There was another guy there by the name of Robert Dunlop. You may not have heard of him, but he was a smart guy. He was the director of the American Petroleum Institute, to this day a very powerful oil lobbying group, and he was also president of the Sun Oil Company, which you may know by its current name, Suncor, which also owns Petro-Canada, and the second biggest of the refineries just east of the city. We've all seen them. Almost immediately after being warned about how dangerous fossil fuel emissions are, Dunlop nonetheless raced to develop the tar sands in our province shortly afterward. He did this with the full knowledge that his technologies were environmentally disastrous. And why? Because he could smell the money. He could have done the right thing, but like so many other greedy oil executives, he decided to fill his pocket and sweep aside the science. But he definitely didn't ignore it, nor did any of the other oil companies. They all had in-house scientists covertly assessing their own emissions, and every study came to the same conclusion that Edward Teller had, that using fossil fuel emits carbon dioxide and it's extremely dangerous for our climate. Dunlop even spoke before U.S. Congress in 1967, making the claim that before long, the emissions of internal combustion engines would be no different than electric vehicles. He spoke of reductions in emissions of nitrous oxide, carbon monoxide, and hydrocarbons, but he left out the most important one, carbon dioxide. In the years since then, we've endured countless scandals on behalf of the oil industry. We've seen catastrophic oil spills, workplace deaths, disrespect for treaty lands, and in Alberta, we've ridden the boom-bust roller coaster into the ground countless times. Lacking in tactile. And all the while, oil executives continue to lie about the misconduct of their companies. Just 2 years ago, again before U.S. Congress, the CEOs of Exxon, Shell, Chevron, and BP all lied about the disinformation campaigns carried out by big oil to convince everyone that climate change is just a hoax. Well, newsflash everyone, it's not. Our wildfires in Canada this summer consumed a greater area than the last 7 years combined. The warnings Edward Teller gave 64 years ago are coming true, and if the oil industry had any integrity, we wouldn't be in the ecological mess that we are today. Across the planet, Human-caused climate change is responsible for mass extinctions of countless species, organisms that have evolved on this planet alongside us over the course of billions of years. Back in August, the UCP halted all renewable energy products with the moratorium for 7 months. And is anyone blind enough not to see why? The UCP have blocked dozens of requests for reports on their meetings with the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers and other oil lobby groups. They've claimed that the federal government is compromising the freedoms of Albertans, and yet they're simultaneously denying Albertans of freedom of information. It's gotten so bad that the Provincial Information and Privacy Commissioner has had to step in to investigate. In no uncertain terms, this provincial government cannot be trusted. They hold hands with these corrupt corporations, give them ludicrous resources, and spend billions to clean up the inevitable mess.
Hear, hear.
Yeah. Hear. Apologies, issues with the paper. All right, they're sabotaging clean energy in Alberta to slow down renewable development, even though it's proven to be more cost-effective because oil lobbyists are fighting tooth and nail to tighten the noose around our necks. And it's not just those of us alive today that they're threatening with all this. It's also the generations to come. This planet has existed for billions of years, while humans have only been around for a tiny fraction of that, and our individual lives are a smaller fraction still. We do not own this planet any more than our ancestors who came before us. We spend borrowed time to live on borrowed land. In a mere blink of human evolutionary time, we will all be gone. But our species and our planet will not. We will live on in the echoes of our actions and the marks we leave upon the land. In his own time, Christopher Columbus was a famed and honorable explorer, but we know now that he was a cruel slaver and enacted genocide on the indigenous he encountered. John A. Macdonald was our first prime minister, a bright accolade to be sure, but we recall him now as the man who starved thousands of First Nations people to get them out of the way of the Canadian Pacific Railroad. We know that oil companies have covered up their knowledge of carbon dioxide emissions for decades and today engage in greenwashing to present themselves as anything but the exploitative parasites that they really are. Now I ask, how will the people of the future view those of us alive today? When children are forced to wear gas masks to play outside in the summer, will they thank Premier Smith for baring her fangs at Ottawa? Will retirees thank the UCP for attempting to snatch away their pension money and gamble it all on oil? Will the farmers of the future thank the malevolent propagators of oil exploitation for crop failure due to extreme weather conditions? We all know the answers to these questions. Thanks to big oil, these problems are a lot worse than they ever needed to be, and unless we stand up to them, nothing will change. We, the individuals, have the power to push against the wrongdoings of corporate oil. We have the power to ensure that the air is clean and the weather is stable for countless generations to come, for millions, even billions of Albertans given enough time. Your voice is your strongest tool and your sharpest weapon. It is the bridge between passion and action. It is the rallying call of the unborn generations who have not yet learned to speak, and as such, it is our responsibility to speak on their behalf. And just as it is our responsibility to guarantee a better future for those who come after us, it is the responsibility of the oil companies to right the wrongs done by those who came before, whose profits they continue to collect. Together, we can ensure just transition. Together, we can ensure that every person working in the oil fields has employment in green energy, and then some. Together, we can guarantee that our homes are warmed by the sun, by the winds, by the rivers and the tides. Together, we can keep our water fresh, our air clean, and our skies blue. I hate these papers as well. Together, we can make sure that every vehicle is powered by non-emitting electricity. After all, Canada's energy grid is already over 80% non-emitting. Together, we can build a future that our descendants will be proud of. Together, we can create hope. Together, we can make the big polluter pay. Together, we can say no to oil spill apologism and big corporate bailouts. United as Albertans and as Canadians, we can build a better future. We need only believe in our capacity to make change, and we will make our ideals a reality. Together, we can do anything.
Yes. Woo. All right. Yeah.